The Mannin Line, daily interaction, debate and exchange of ideas. Broadcast on Manx Radio from midday till 1, Monday to Friday.
Goodbye, good afternoon. Welcome to Mannin Line on this filthy old Tuesday lunchtime. Hope you don't have to be outside in this weather. Well, tomorrow night the government conference gets underway. They say 500 people are booked in. Now, we don't know exactly. Does that include all the students that are going? And are you going to it? Also, remember, I mentioned this afternoon's Mannin has been cancelled to Liverpool, and this evening's Manxman. Of course, the Manxman's now been allowed out in the dark on her own, but we don't know whether tonight's sailing is going. We'll find out later on today. Fingers crossed for the weather. And Wilf's with us, first of all. Hi, Wilf.
Hi, it's on about seaweed again.
Okay.
Now, this last few days has been blowing easterly. And South Shore is actually covered in seaweed, like the worst I've ever seen. Well, not the worst I've ever seen it, but the worst I've seen it for quite a while. So I walked down the slip yesterday. That's the lifeboat slip, just for a look at it. And there's still people going swimming in it around that area. And I was looking at the seaweed, and I thought, this is not right. There was two. Just the width of the slip. There was two cormorants, dead cormorants, mixed up in the seaweed, and two jackdaws. Now, I know a bit about birds, and I know that cormorants are seabirds and jackdaws are land birds. Why would jackdaws be wrapped up in that seaweed, dead? I'm just thinking, should somebody who knows a bit more than me go down and look at this lot? Could it be bird flu? I don't know.
Have you reported it to DEFRA, Wilf?
I haven't reported to anybody. This is why I'm doing it now, so that it'll get to DEFRA.
Yeah,
that's why I'm doing it on the radio, so it'll get to DEFRA, so it'll get to everybody.
Okay, well, if anybody's listening from DEFRA, that's by the slip in Ramsey, then.
Yes, and that was only the width of the slip. Now, the whole beach is covered in seaweed. How many dead birds is in amongst that lot? I don't know. And I know that jackdaws are land birds, and I can't understand why they would be dead mixed up in the seaweed, unless they've been eating something out of that seaweed. Now, seagulls will eat anything, including their own dead. And if they're going to be picking at dead birds in amongst that lot, I don't know what's going to happen. So somebody should get down there that knows what they're looking at.
And what time was this? What time was this that you saw the dead birds?
That was yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, when the tide was in.
Okay.
And it's blowing westerly now. If it was blowing strong westerly, it would maybe take it out because there's quite big tides at the moment.
Yeah.
But another thing I heard, which could be totally wrong, I don't know, but a fellow only told me that in the paper this last week was, I think it was Castletown, there's a lot of seaweed washed in there, and it was full of maggots and it was stinking, and the stink was going in the town and all that. But the important bit was Castletown commissioners, if this is right, Castletown commissioners would like to shift it. And I've heard the DEFRA had said, you shift it and we will fine you. So there you go. It might be only lies, and I don't know, but this is what I was told. This is what's going around at the moment.
Well, we'll find out about that. So Castletown Commissioner, this is the skeet then. Castletown Commissioners wanted to shift the stinking seaweed, and DOI said no.
DOI said, no, we will fine you, or DEFRA, or whatever they like to call themselves. They keep changing the goalposts, keep changing the names. Anyway.
All right. Okay, well.
That's all I've got for you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for calling.
Okay, all right.
Cheers now. 12 minutes past 12. Any thoughts on this? It may be skeet. Well, certainly not skeet regarding dead birds, because Wilf knows of what he speaks, but regarding the stinking seaweed in Castletown. We'll find out then. Just an observation, says Andy, and a complaint probably, but why are dogs now allowed in shops these days? Once upon a time, it just used to be guide dogs only, but there seems to be the trend now also not to put dogs on leads. Surely this is an accident waiting to happen. By the way, I'm a dog lover, says Andy. Do you notice this more often, where dogs are allowed in places that they didn't used to be allowed? You're quite right. It just used to be guide dogs, didn't it? And a message just as regarding dogs. I just found this, came in earlier on today on the same topic. My husband and I were out walking in Station Road, Port Erin recently. Very busy road. We heard a very loud thud, and a Boston Bulldog, a very fashionable, expensive breed these days, had been knocked down. Luckily, the driver of the van braked in time to cause the poor dog no serious injury, just a thump. But the terrified dog legged it at great speed down the road. The owner sauntered up the road looking for the dog as we explained what had happened, because he didn't seem to know what had happened. I asked him why the dog wasn't on a lead. He produced the lead from round his neck and asked me, "What's it got to do with you?" Got any thoughts? A quick question, says Texter 143, is Manx Radio going to the government conference? Oh, yes, we are. We'll have microphones at the government conference, and we'll be finding out more as the time goes on. If you haven't yet registered for the government conference and you want to go, they'd love to see you tomorrow evening and also all day Thursday. It's the 2023 Isle of Man Government Conference. So it's tomorrow evening, 6 till 8:40, and all day Thursday. It's at the Villa Marina. The conference is bringing together everybody, really. People have got stakeholders, guest speakers, and leaders, if you like, to discuss critical issues. So Wednesday evening is going to be finance and budgets and housing and infrastructure. Wednesday evening is education and skills. Thursday is finance, budgets, housing and infrastructure. And there'll also be presentations on topics including planning, healthcare, economic strategy and question and answer sessions with ministers. Now, if you have got time to go, then I'd urge you to go and take a look. The more people, the more voters that actually go and see this, the better. islandplan.com is the website, islandplan.com/conference23. It's a free registration, and it'll give you all the details about what is happening. If you can attend it to the full day or just nip in and out for sessions that are of interest to you, but they'd like to see you there. That's islandplan.com/conference23. Are you going to be there? Now, yesterday we were talking about work permits.
Hi, I've just been listening to a gentleman complain about basically people getting working permits, etc. I'm getting on to 50-something. I'm just going to say that. And really, it's not, work permits do not entail people doing a background check on you. What it actually entails is there a Manx person that can do that job? And if so, they get the job over anybody else. It's not about their history. So, the sheer fact that they want to drop the work permits, to me, is a good idea, because obviously it will get more younger blood into this island, and certainly essential people into this island. I appreciate that the chappie was probably an older chappie, judging by the fact that he mentioned the Second World War, etc. However, sometimes that generation don't understand, and things change. It's been years since then. Even when I grew up in the 80s, things change and you have to accept change. But getting work permits does not entail a background check. It simply means that they have to find a Manx person first to fill that position. Otherwise, you can have the job. And how do I know this? I know this because it took me 2 years and lots of my own savings to finally get accepted into a job on this island working for the government with a work permit. So it's not that easy to get. And thank you. Bye.
Thank you. That was a message on the Mannin Line answer phone, which is 682-631. If you want to call any time, day or night. If you can't call during the show itself, then 682-631 is the answer phone. I heard, says Jack 927, Tim Crookall's going to push on and finish the horse tramway. Is it true or is it skeet? Can't find it anywhere. Well, they've not said yet. They all say that the plan is to push the horse tram on towards the sea terminal, but we'll see. And obviously, as Tim Crookall is now in charge of the DOI, maybe you've got some inside information. We wait, we watch, and we'll see. My granddaughter, texter 797, says there are older children at school selling vapes. Shouldn't really be happening, should it? But remember, the legislation isn't in yet regarding vapes, and vapes just seem to be taking off. It is a brand new school year, so we'll see exactly where that goes. Maybe that's something I'll ask the students at King William's College on Thursday about vapes. ULEZ is not really about CO2, but other stuff like particulates. But nevertheless, do we know what level of such stuff Onken residents have to put up with? This was in response to a lady yesterday who said she takes a vehicle across to London and it's ULEZ compliant, i.e. it doesn't get charged money because it's presumably fairly new, but pay more road tax on the Isle of Man. Well, of course, that's, what they do in London doesn't really affect us, but I suppose you can draw some conclusions from that. Are vapes single-use plastics? Says Malcolm. Don't think they are, because you use them many, many times. It's just that people seem to be throwing them away, and certainly throwing them away on beaches. No money for the nurses' wages, yet the MEA's brought new EV vans, very expensive. What are they like second-hand? Are they worthless second-hand, says Alan? Well, Jersey is using second-hand electric vehicles. In fact, if you buy a second-hand electric vehicle in Jersey, you new or used, you get £3,500 in Jersey. That's what they're. But of course, Jersey is a lot smaller than the Isle of Man. There's no range anxiety. I'm not able to get to the government meetings, says Texter 127. Will they be recorded? I'm guessing the government will probably record some, and we'll be getting the best of them as well. And we'll be certainly talking to all the politicians and also some of the people there. We initially, says this texter, need to build social housing on the vacant and brownfield sites in and around Douglas. I'm against the proposed development at Braddon. This needs to be shelved outside of Douglas. Maybe we should use land at Glenvine or Crosby. Well, I understand the Crosby development, I think, is going to get bigger and bigger. But if you're going to build outside Douglas, inevitably you'll come up against greenfield arguments. Do you build on brownfield sites or do you build on greenfield sites? Brownfield sites, by definition, are going to be inside an urban area. So you will attract people to that urban area. If you try to get people out of Douglas, maybe encourage business and commerce outside of Douglas, Onken and Braddon, you're going to have houses somewhere. The island would love to see, says Patricia, our educated youngsters returning to live on the island, but properties are too expensive for them to get on the housing ladder here. A few years ago, young people could get a mortgage to purchase a plot of land with eventually building their own homes. It was insensitive for the return of our own people. Unfortunately, the government's sitting back ignoring the fact that banks don't permit mortgages for purchasing. Oh, that was an incentive. I beg your pardon, not insensitive. It was an incentive for the return of our own people. Unfortunately, Patricia says, government's sitting back ignoring the fact that banks don't permit mortgages for purchasing a plot, meaning we're missing out on the return of our educated and widely experienced local talent. Now, did you do that years ago? Did you get a mortgage and purchase a plot of land, eventually building your own home? I just wonder whether or not that might be an idea. And certainly, retaining young Manx talent will always be a challenge, because if young people go off the Isle of Man, having been brought up on the Isle of Man, many people get their eyes opened when they go and live in big urban conurbations and cities in the UK, and frankly, like it a lot more. Of course, as time goes on, they'll maybe then appreciate what's good about the Isle of Man and want to come back. But you can't force them. That's the thing. And certainly, if the cost of housing is standing in their way, is that something that we should look at? A way to smooth the path back here. Build at Jerby, says Roy. There's nothing there. Well, there is, but we get the point. And Sheila said, I had to have a work permit to live and work on the Isle of Man 32 years ago. I thought it was a good idea then. I think it's a good idea now. Thank you, Sheila. Hope your pies are okay. Regarding dentists, I've just been to the dentist, says Texter 188. Been to Regency Dental Care, informed all the staff there have received redundancy notices for the 30th of November. Regency's got 7,000 patients. What is happening to Manx Care? Well, the problem of dentists just goes on and on and on. Getting enough dentists on the Isle of Man, and certainly the queue for an NHS dentist goes round the island, probably more than once. What do we do about it? Of course, inevitably, the answer is going to be money. Spend some money. But there is only so much money. Well, they reckon 500 people are registered to attend the Isle of Man Government Conference, which gets underway tomorrow. It's the second time this event's being run, and we'll see ministers and those at the top of government discussing critical issues and policies being brought in across the Isle of Man. Kate Lord-Brennan, MHK, is the Cabinet Office Minister, and she hopes that you'll be there and you'll talk directly to people.
It's really a two-way conversation as well. You know, it's not that government isn't engaging the rest of the time, but actually this is a completely different way of doing that. There's a chance for the public to directly have Q&A sessions with individual ministers. There are panels following the particular topics that are being covered that have got a diverse mix of voices. So it's really a completely different way of doing things. If you think about it, usually, and you guys will know, government can communicate by sending out press releases. Constituency MHKs hold political surgeries, and ministers get questioned in Tynwald, and often announcements are made there too. This is very direct, particularly for people that are wanting to find out more about government's plans. We are expecting some key announcements to be made at this conference. I'll flag that now. But also for people to kind of put their own views across, and certainly at the government conference last year that focused around the economic strategy as a sort of consultation exercise, we did go through the different points that were raised, collated really from the participants and the audience. It's really a two-way conversation.
Kate Lord-Brennan, if you're going tomorrow, I hope you've got some questions lined up so you can give them. I do my best here. We get ministers in and politicians in, and lots of people ask questions. But asking it in the flesh, looking into the whites of their eyes, often is... you get a direct response. So if you are going tomorrow, you're going to engage in direct discussions. So you just wonder, it's been on for a year now. It was last year. So what has happened? What was impacted? What exactly happened off the back of last year's conference? Kate Lord-Brennan.
Well, you'll know that we've been focusing a lot to do with housing and the built environment, and actually what we do to kind of unlock some of these empty, long-standing brownfield sites, how we address that. So these big issues that have been issues for a long time, take a concerted amount of effort. They've had that effort, and I'm expecting announcements to be made in that respect.
Well, we'll see. If you've got a favourite brownfield site you pass every day and you think that could do for some houses, and you wonder why it hasn't, maybe you walk past the Park Road School site. Big site. It was a big school there. Square site right in the middle of Upper Douglas, right next to the now closed down Bowling Green pub. Of course, other brownfield sites exist. The big one is Summerland. The old prison's there. Lord Street car park. They trot off the tongue, don't they? They seem to have been there like an aged relative in the corner, just sitting there. Unloved almost. So what can we do? Lord Street flats are looming on the horizon as well. What's going to happen there? The problem with dentistry, says Rob, goes back to the early 1980s when the Department of Health refused to allow existing practices to take on new dentists, saying at the time there were enough dentists. Now, there's very little to attract dentists to the Isle of Man. And again, we come back to this, and it's a trend. It's a response we hear many times. What is there to attract people to come to the Isle of Man? Of course, I mean, notwithstanding today's weather, when it's nice weather, it's gorgeous. Few places better in the world. The glens and the coves and the bays and the beaches that we have, absolutely fantastic. Of course, it's a safe place. Of course, you know, you never hear of elderly people being bashed over the head for £10 for drug money. Doesn't happen. Happens everywhere in the UK. Doesn't happen on the Isle of Man. We have that low-level crime we simply don't have here. But how do we make it attractive for people to come here? Last week, my wife was taken ill, and after a home visit from the GP, she was admitted to Noble's Hospital. I'd like to thank everybody from our GP, the ambulance crew, A&E, staff in Ward 2. The care shown to her was world-class. Everybody was very kind and professional. Thank you for that. It's good to hear from you, and I'm glad everything is, and I do hope your wife is on the road to recovery. I think we know that as part of the Douglas Promenade improvements, says Richie, the horse trams were authorised by Tynwald and budgeted to run the whole length. Who spent the money elsewhere? On what was it spent, if anybody's responsible? Is anyone responsible? If not, why not? Well, there is going to be a report on the prom, isn't there? The corporation this year completed new social housing apartments on Peel Road. Why can't the same plans be used for Park Road? Well, has anybody got the will to do anything there on Park Road, says Andy. Students and young people, says James, moving from homes to cities or other countries, it's not an isolated issue to the island. It happens everywhere. The island's politicians need to work at growing the island and start making excuses. They never had to work when they were, while we were taking off the huge VAT take from the UK, and that got wasted. Well, not entirely wasted. I'm sure a lot of it went into reserves, which of course we are now drawing down on. But you get the picture. Tony with us now. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Andy. How you doing?
Hey, terrific. Thanks. Lovely weather.
Well, yeah, it's good for ducks and it makes things grow. A bit waterlogged, but there you go. It'll dry out at some stage once the weatherman finds out what he's doing. I've got a concern that all of a sudden we keep hearing government conference, government network, information. Where was all that when they were deciding to go net zero 3 years ago? Never heard a dicky bird. We just got told we're going net zero and that's it. Oh, and by the way, you can't have a new gas boiler. I just find this a exercise in trying to get the voting public to rubber stamp a decision that's already been made. And I find that very, very undemocratic and very sad. I just can't understand where we're going. And another issue, dentists. It's easy. All you've got to do is say if a dentist comes to the Isle of Man, they have to do some public dental work, full stop. But we haven't done that ever. We just let them do what they want. Same with the pharmacies. They should all be said, okay, you can't have more than one pharmacy in a town. I mean, there's 5 licences in Ramsey, 3 occupied by the same outfit. And now that outfit is giving it to somebody else. But I don't know if it's allowed to have anybody else in Ramsey, because I don't know what's going to happen. Despite the fact the minister telling us, I think 6 months ago, that it was all in hand, we were going to fix it. And he didn't agree with monopolies. Nurses, best thing to do, get rid of Manx Care, take all the money, and use it to pay the nurses, because Manx Care doesn't work. As a administration, it's just one more layer of administration that's not needed. OK, there's my bit's done for the day, I think.
As far as dentists are concerned, an NHS dentist, now there are thousands of people on the waiting list for an NHS dentist. I mean, have we in fact privatised dentistry now? I mean, everybody accepts that it now, going to a dentist costs lots and lots of money. It didn't used to years ago.
Yeah, but dental practices are being bought up by people from across because it's so lucrative over here. Because the rules are just so lax. Because the government has never said, if you're going to be a dentist in the Isle of Man, you have to dedicate X amount of hours to public dentistry, which we will organise with.
Yeah, so hang on. I just wonder why the government hasn't sort of fronted this out and just said, look, we did used to have, national health dentists. You used to be able to get your teeth looked after at a fairly reasonable cost. Those days are gone. That's the situation. Instead of just saying we do have NHS dentistry and keeping thousands of people on the waiting list.
Because that would mean telling the truth. Andy, when was the last time that you had a minister stand up and just say, we got all this wrong, we're going to fix it? I don't remember.
Well, certainly not in those terms anyway.
Well, no, but that's how it should be done. If you get something wrong, until you admit it's wrong and it's not working, you're not going to be able to fix it because you've got this idea that it'll all work out in the end.
Well, remember, we never get things wrong nowadays. We have challenges.
Well, the challenge is the government doesn't necessarily tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
And do you think then, if we did have politicians who said, actually, look, folks, we screwed up here, we got this wrong, we had this idea, we tried that, it didn't work. Do you think people would swallow that?
I think that's a lot better course than trying to dress it up as, yes, we've got dentists, but they're too busy or we can't attract them. Well, it's all tied together with where we're going, and where we're going has been set out already, and you have no influence on it. It's already government policy that we'll have 5,000 more working people, 15,000 more people. You've got no support infrastructure for them. But we're going to build a load of houses, don't worry, it'll all be good in the end. Where are you going to build the houses? It's just ludicrous. There is no plan. You've heard people come on about a strategic plan. Where's the strategy in bringing a load of people here when you have no infrastructure?
It's funny, as you're talking, I got a text in from Colin who just said, just what you said there, it's more a strategic wish list.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, we want the Isle of Man to be a nice place to live in. This sounds like green special. I mean, I'll ask you a question. They're going to build a car park in Ramsey, or they want to, up near the hairpin. Why don't they fix the roads instead of building a car park when it's not necessary? What on earth is that car park going to be there for? So the DRI can play around with complaining about people parking their cars overnight, or then they'll start charging us. I mean, it goes down a road that is not going to help people. The airport charges for parking, and then they're crowing because we've got more money coming in. That's because they charge more than they used to. That's the reason. It's not a good thing, it's a bad thing. So if I turn up on the Isle of Man and I want to go and collect somebody from the airport, it's going to cost me £3 or £4. Why?
That's interesting. We did have that situation. It was one of the civilised bits of the Isle of Man. Do you remember you used to have free parking for an hour at the airport?
Which is the right thing to do. And if you wanted to go over the hour, you paid it. It was a £1 or £2 fee. Yeah. Now it's £2 if you're over 10 minutes. Or is it 15 minutes? I can't remember. It depends where you park in the car park.
So where's that where's that mindset come from then? The fact that we used to have free parking for an hour, it was a civilised situation because sometimes the planes didn't arrive or they were late or what have you. But now you get stung come what may.
Yeah, because the government hasn't got enough money. They keep borrowing money and using up reserves and then telling us we've got to do something about this. So we'll tell the airport they can't have any more money, so they've got to make their own money. So if you had a car park, you say, oh, God, charge for that. But they don't charge a sensible amount. the people in charge think they can rip off the public and get away with it.
Oh, I see. And that's, I mean, obviously
And that is good for them because it makes their situation, oh, look at this, we've increased our revenue.
Oh, hence...
It's not about revenue, it's about how many people go to the airport.
And that's why they sold those advertising stickers in the arrivals hall for £30,000 a year. Never mind the fact that you can't see anybody anymore, and we used to be able to see people from both sides. It doesn't matter because we've sold it for a few bob.
Which seems to be the culture within government, that we'll take whatever we've got and sell it to somebody, and it doesn't matter what it looks like because they'll get used to it. We'll get used to it. Yeah, great. I just think the government is falling apart, and they don't want to admit they've got a problem.
Oh, interesting. Okay, thanks, Tony.
Good for you. Take care, Andy. All the best.
Good to hear from you. 23 minutes before 1. David's on now. Hi, David.
Hi, Andy. Just talking about Park Road School and the prison site. Those plans or concept drawings and estimates were actually filed into government. I seen drawings of Park Road School and drawings of the prison site, commented about it.
And what was Park Road School going to be?
It was going to be housing. It was going to be first-time buyers there, close to town. A bit like the concept they were going to have. Remember in Domain Road?
Yes,
What's happened with that? And push bikes and stuff like that. I don't know where the planning application is at the minute. Was it ever approved?
Well, Park Road would be ideal for that because it is a fairly huge site there as well. And if they could bundle that in with the Bowling Green pub and that site as well, that's very big.
I mean, that's things that should be having. We have this Quango organisation called, well, we have a few of them, don't we? The Housing Development Board, who won't come on and justify their existence to us as the public there. I wonder whether they're going to be attending to some of these seminars to either listen or who makes the policy. The policy should be driven by the community to the politicians to formulate something we can all agree on. They were consulting last night in Oaken. There's no secret about that, about planning, and there was a tick box question that you do with loads of paperwork and stuff like that. And one of the things they're wanting to do, which I had a little thought about too, was the Fultons on the Isle of Man. There's quite a lot of them. Should we do something with them? Should we let them go to ruin? Those are the sort of things we should be discussing and having policy decisions on. And policy decisions should come from the public itself, what we want. The biggest thing let down, I think, really is from the DOI and previous ministers, is they never come through or apologise. I have, and you've seen them, blank bits of paper. I did a data subject access request on the DOI. And just to have blank bits of paper to say hi and briefing note, and the rest of the paper is covered in black marker pen, is ridiculous, which seems to me, and people that I know and talk to now, and encourage people to come to the Isle of Man, is we're supposed to be open and transparent. I don't think we are anymore. I think government departments hide things now. They use the data protection laws, and now because we have a registrar that's not even living on the island, and we don't even have a deputy, it's a nightmare. When you ask questions and want some information, it should be there. If you're bold enough to say something, you should be bold enough to stand up and say, well, I did say that.
So in years gone by, was information more easy to access than it is now?
Yes, it was. Now we're in I think sometimes a litigation view. The things that has gone on in the past. I know things that happened, and the government department didn't. I won't mention them too much, but health side, make an honest opinion. We did something wrong, and move on. Or the council ministers, we may have got that wrong. We stayed you down the wrong road, but they forget when they're telling us something out there. 9 times out of 10 people tend to believe what they're saying. That 1% says, well, is there something behind this? Where are they driving us to? That we're going to have all electric cars, like the guy said before. What are all the people going to do when their boiler packs in, and they turn around to them and says, "You can't put a new gas boiler or oil boiler in because it's not green enough. You've got to put panels on your roof or an air source heat pump. And by the way, it's going to cost you £10,000."
Okay. All right. Thanks, David.
See you, boy. See you Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that. 18 minutes before 1 on Manx Radio. If the government wants thousands of people to come to live on the Isle of Man, who's going to look after their teeth? Who's going to take care of their health problems? 235 texter. And a message in regarding Park Road School. That particular school had 2 huge gargoyles. They were devil's eagles carved from Peel sandstone. Where did they go? Weren't they put on the entrance pillars on the new school? Does anybody know where the Park Road gargoyles are, says Big John in Laxey.
No matter how much you need to dig or how much you want to dump, Fox Group Isle of Man offer an extensive range of plant hire, long-term lease and sales. We're the island's exclusive supplier for Louis Gong excavators with immediate delivery. Our machinery comes with a complete service package with finance plan options. Call John on 458946 to discuss your plant needs. Fox Group Isle of Man, part of the Fox Group of companies.
At ShopRite, a big slice of our range is continually priced to match or better other supermarkets. We call it Price Match Plus, the plus being what others simply don't match. Like ShopRite Savers, low prices, choice and value you won't get elsewhere, with brands like Sainsbury's and no need to travel miles. Plus, the difference being locally owned makes. We're loyal supporters of local food producers and businesses and benefit the Manx economy directly. ShopRite, proudly locally owned.
Whatever your style, you'll find something stunning to enhance your home at Miller Chaps of Ramsey. From classic elegance to new trends in home design, Miller Chaps have 2 fabulous floors packed with fantastic new furniture, furnishings and homeware. Whether you're looking for fabrics and wallpapers, new flooring, a comfy sofa or unique artwork to complete your look, you'll find it at Miller Chaps, along with much more from their vast inspirational range. Find your style in store today at Miller Chaps of Ramsey.
Looking a little tired? Treat yourself to a refresh at Tracy Bell. If you're confused by all you read or see online, Tracy Bell Aesthetic Medical can help. With the expertise of experienced medical practitioners and the latest technology, including laser skin treatment and hair removal, injectables, fat freezing and skin tightening. Call Ben on 613323 to arrange your consultation now. Tracy Bell, helping you to be better.
Get ready for another winning weekend on Manx Radio.
And this weekend, you could win a one-night stay for 2 plus breakfast at the luxurious Mannin Hotel.
Visit manxradio.com and answer the competition question for your chance to win. You can enter as many times as you like.
Then make sure you're listening to Manx Radio Breakfast on Monday morning when we'll announce the winner.
Make this your winning weekend with your nation station, Manx Radio.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
1:45, Bonzo's on. Hi, Bonzo.
Hi there. Yes, just wanting to talk about the Comyn Party Congress in the Great Hall of the People tomorrow and Thursday. But first, if I just may very well quickly clarify some of these things about no new gas boilers from end 2025. What that is, of course, no new gas boilers. Now, if your boiler therefore conks out and can be repaired, that's fine. The repair, the gas fitter can come around and fettle your boiler and get it working again. You're not then told, no, sorry, take that out, and you can't have a gas boiler to replace it. Also, of course, that is from end 2025. So, 2024. I'm sure there will be something of a bonanza for people selling gas boilers, as a gas boiler's life is about 10 years. So people will just get a new gas boiler in 2024 and continue using it until 2034. So I think a lot of the arguments about this are again, a bit specious. And indeed, the reason we're doing it is really because the UK are doing it, and that went from various EU things that the UK had to be in harmony with. Now, the EU, I believe, are backpedaling on that, and of course, with an election coming up next year, I'm sure that UK political parties will probably be backpedaling on that. So whether we'll actually see boilers not being available from 2025, then I don't really know.
But what does that say? What does that say about political initiatives then that are, trumpeted at the time as being the way forward, and suddenly just get watered down and diluted until, as you say, they may just fizzle out?
Well, as you say, they're political initiatives. That's the point. If then voters don't like them and you have to face the voters, then you've got a bit of a problem. So you're going to backpedal on them. So that's just pretty basic electromechanics. If we then get round to the People's Party Congress, or should we say the Comyn Party Congress, I gather that the Chief Minister was inspired by UK political party conferences in order to establish this. Well, anyone who's been inspired by the Tory party conference, I think, probably needs to see a psychiatrist. And party political conferences nowadays are very much rallies to put forward the party's various policies, rather than anything that actually sort of debates or listens or passes a motion on something. Because, of course, members of the party could then go around passing motions on things that the leadership don't like and which don't look good. So, they're very much more orchestrated events than they were. And I think there's a great deal of that in last year and this, in that they are orchestrated events, really, to give the impression of public consultation, debating with the public. But it's really in theatre. And if they really wanted to engage with the public, well, it would be on at the weekend when the public could attend. However, then the public, of course, might be assembling outside the Villa Marina, protesting about something, and that wouldn't look good.
So, will you be showing up there tomorrow or Thursday?
Maybe, maybe not. It kind of depends on what else is going on. And I think, like quite a few people, have booked for it. But whether we will be there or not, is kind of dependent on circumstance.
Okay.
But I don't think it's I think it's much more of a PR thing than actually anything that is functional, that is really functional. And I believe it's cost something like 50,000. The last one cost, I think, 42.
Yeah, it's between 40 and 50,000, certainly.
So it'll be more like 50. And also this thing of cancelling all school swimming on the day in order to provide buses to bus in sixth formers and students from the college, in order to have them fill up the hall and have a youth debate in order, again, so that people can look good. And, of course, Isle of Man, Manx Radio will be covering this, and newspapers, and Paul Moulton as well. So, yes, so that it can look all nice and good, and give the impression of planning and competence. There'll be a lot of death by PowerPoint. For a start, if you don't like looking at PowerPoint presentations, don't go.
Okay.
I think it's just window dressing.
Okay. Thanks, Bonzo.
Okay, then, cheers. Bye.
Good to hear from you. And David's on now. Hi, David. You got some information about gas boilers?
Yeah, originally it was the 1st of January 2024. If it's a new build, you cannot put gas or oil in. It's now gone to the 1st of January 2025, only on a new build. I've got a gas boiler in a house and it's 10 years old. In 5 years' time, if it breaks down, I'll go and put a new gas boiler in. If it's an existing property, you can renew your gas or oil boiler It's only new builds
that
are affected. Right, just as a query, maybe somebody knows the answer to this one. There's roughly 730 houses getting built in Ballasalla as you go up the hill from Castletown. And I asked a member of the Manx Gas team, has all the gas pipework been put in the whole of that site? And he said yes. So why would they go to the trouble of putting gas supplies into houses and in roads that if they stuck to the original 2024 1st of January would all be obsolete? And I'm just wondering, is it a coincidence that it's been put back a year?
Interesting. Okay. Thanks for that information.
All right. Thank you.
Good to hear from you. Thank you, David. Well.
Whatever your business, whatever its size, you can always rely on the island's leading fuel and oil supplier to keep you moving. Ellen Vannin Fuels, powering the island and powering industry. Call us on 844 000.
Plum Master, where plumbers shop. For supplies, we've got the lot. Ramsey, Douglas, come on down. Plum Master, the best around. Gas boilers, pipes and taps, bathroom fittings, stylish rads. Plum Master have all in store and deliver to your door.
For trade and DIY plumbing supplies, visit Plum Master at Haldane Fisher in Douglas and Ramsey. Plum Master, your local, reliable, competitive plumbing supplier.
The Ramsey Garden Centre sale is now on, featuring a huge range of garden items at vastly reduced prices. Don't delay. Grab a garden bargain now. There has never been a better time to visit Ramsey Garden Centre. Open 7 days a week on Albert Road, Ramsey.
For all your motorcycle needs, ride on down to H&H Motorcycles. We offer new and used bikes for purchase for any budget. And you can trust H&H to deliver quality health checks, full service, repairs and suspension upgrades. H&H are totally motorbike mad. And you can also have a chat with Honda UK rider Nathan Harrison. Find us in South Quay Industrial Estate or call 665646. Ask for Dave. H&H Motorcycles.
Employers, having trouble with staff and need reliable advice? Employees, are you treated fairly in the workplace or do you have a grievance?
The workplace can be problematic on both sides. For any work-related legal issue, contact the employment law experts, Man Benham. They advise employers and staff on all work-related problems with sound professional advice and a transparent fee policy. To arrange your free consultation at Man Benham, call today on 639 350.
Man Benham, here for you.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
6 minutes before 1. Thank you to Dee, who just says, I can't believe how some people on the Isle of Man whinge about paying a nominal fee at Ronaldsway Airport, which is very little when compared to other airports. Thank you, Dee. That's if you compare us to other airports. But really, it used to be free. You used to get an hour free, which was nice. It made you feel good about going to the airport. Now, the moment you go to the airport, you suddenly think it's going to cost me. Have a read of what our government's net zero regarding planning. I'll take a look at that. Thank you for that link. I heard Kate Law-Brennan saying about getting building going. There's a derelict and dangerous site in Andreas where a developer applied for planning permission to build 30 houses. I saw that. And applied to Cowley Groves when the sign went up to register my interest. Permission was granted a year later. Within the next 21 days, the DOI decided, after being consulted, to object. I'm told the developer had to make a fresh application, and eventually it was 2 years passed once more. Well. That's Andreas. David's correct. The Tholton should be reused. There's been some thought and some brought back into use, but appears planners are preventing others being developed. Is that right? And Dick says, Andy, the easiest way to grow the population is to hang on to the people you've already got, what they call in business and commerce, repeat business, the ones you've got. Well, I've said it before, hundreds of students who go to university every year, and we're seeing too many stay across after leaving university who would never return to the Isle of Man. We've given given millions and millions towards university fees to students, and each one saves possibly £50,000 compared with UK students. Well, simple. If you don't want to return to the Isle of Man and work for 5 years within 10 years of graduating, surely we should charge them, and they should repay what's been paid for them by the taxpayer. A £50,000 bill will make many of them think twice before going to work across, and as a result the population will grow, just getting back some of the brightest and best to come home. You are rather forcing them though, aren't you? But anyway, and certainly university fees aren't paid as much as they used to be, are they? But we take the point, Dick. Thanks for that. Just a quick notice about a week today, Tuesday 26, GP practices are going to be fully closed next Tuesday from 1 till 6. The afternoon of the 26th, they're allowing practice teams, clinical and admin staff to get essential training and development to remain fully trained and up to date with the skills. So no routine appointments or access for patients to GP practices next Tuesday between 1 and 6. Open line tomorrow. We're going to be live with the students of King William's College on Thursday, and next Tuesday it's Daphne Kane and Andrew Smith, the Garth MHKs. Next Tuesday.
WINT